Good afternoon. My name is George Miller, and today we're going to be discussing AI. I actually have a full presentation for you, and I'm going to be sharing some of the benefits that we're going to be seeing here in the near future. Introduction to AI. AI stands for Artificial Intelligence, and right now we're just on the cusp of a new era. But they're projecting, originally they were projecting 2031 we were going to see dynamic transformational changes in a multitude of industries and a plethora of organizations. But what's happened is that AI is progressing at such a rapid rate that most of these changes and transformations are actually going to take place by 2028. And not a lot of the industries are ready for the changes that are about to take place, nor is the workforce. But as they said, the genie is already out of the bottle. They can't put it back in. So it's basically going to be adapt or die. But what I will tell you is I'm actually an advocate for it because I've already seen in the healthcare industry and in business some of the transformational changes taking place, and most of them are for the positive. But I will also be sharing some of the negatives with you as well because I want this to be a well-balanced presentation. So I will also be sharing some of the concerns and worries that people may be having here in the near future. Impact of AI. We're already starting to see an impact of AI in the technology industry. Many people are already getting laid off because their positions are being replaced by AI. The people that are still working, they have it's a running joke right now. They tell them that they're basically building their own casket because what they're doing is they're working hand in hand with AI, but AI is learning from them, and ultimately AI is going to replace them. And so that's where the running joke comes that you're going to work today to build your own casket. Attributes of AI, because I know I just started off and some of it sounds a little detrimental. And it actually is going to be a little detrimental because it's going to be transformational. Anytime there's change, there's adjustments that have to be made. Now, granted, the adjustments with AI are going to be a lot faster than they were in previous revolutions. Okay, they're calling this the fourth generation of the industrial age. And it's moving so fast. When we went from an agrarian society to an industrial society and everybody started moving to the cities, that was a couple years and almost a decade before the full transformation took place. So there was time for people to adapt and make adjustments. With AI, the change is so fast that it's causing anxiety for some people because they're not getting that time to settle in and make those normal adjustments. They're having to do it at a rapid pace. But I will share, here's where it's transformational. What we're seeing in the medical field is AI is actually diagnosing better than many of the ER physicians. So when someone comes into the ER, a physician would gather labs, they would take the symptoms into consideration, and then with that, they would lean on their knowledge and formulate a hypothesis of what the diagnosis may be. And then they would start ordering more tests to see if they support the diagnosis. Okay, the physicians are usually fairly accurate, but what they're finding is AI, when you input the information in the data, AI is actually faster and more accurate at diagnosing, and it's more concise when considering which future tests and procedures need to be done. So as it stands right now, physicians are working hand in hand with artificial intelligence to support and enhance the delivery of healthcare. Hopefully, it won't completely overtake that, because there still needs to be that human component to healthcare. And I don't think AI is going to be very good with empathy, and empathy is one of those critical components that need to be delivered to a patient when they're in a crisis. AI in business. It's a mixed bag right now. In many industries, coding, computer programming, plethora of other technology areas, AI is beating humans by leaps and bounds. Some organizations are having humans work together with AI. In some departments, AI has just superseded humans by such a vast chasm that they've just basically taken over that department, and they're no longer needing humans. And so that's where the rub is right now. But what they're finding in business is it's the average business person, it's saving them a lot of money. Just to give you an example, to create an advertising campaign, depending on the size of your organization and if it's national or global, could be $30,000 to $300,000 a month. Now, with the AI department, the company can create their own campaigns for pennies on a dollar. So some arenas are losing, but many are winning. And that's why I say that I lean more towards the advancements of AI and some of the progress that it's going to be offering us in the near future. AI in medical, I already touched on that. They're also looking at some technologies that can be used in your nervous system, some neurotechnologies that may help people that have deficits, even people that are paralyzed. Some of the programs may start to be able to help the nervous system to where they can start getting some movement in areas that they otherwise didn't have it due to a stroke or a car accident or whatever it may be. Concerns regarding AI. And there's a vast array of concerns that people are voicing. Even people that are in the AI industry are expressing concerns. Now, for the most part, I would say it's about 80-20. I've done the research, and it's like 79 point something is positive, but it's almost 21% that are working in the industry that have some real concerns, and we need to take a look at those concerns, and we need to take them serious. One of the most obvious is privacy. Okay, AI is going to interfere with privacy, and so we need to have guardrails put in place, be it by state or federal government, that helps protect the average citizen and helps give them as much privacy as possible, which there's very little anymore in this new world we live in, but there still needs to be some guardrails in place. The other concern is brick and mortar buildings, banks. We're not going to need those. Actually, right now, if you walk into a bank, it is very rare that you see someone 30 or under standing in line at a bank. They don't do it. They do everything online already. So for the younger generation, this transition, excuse me, into AI and AI taking a larger role in industries is going to be a relatively smooth transition. But for those of us that are older, it's definitely going to be an adjustment. AI projections. Now, there are some sci-fi concerns, and I think they're just sci-fi, but there are some noted people that are in the industry that have voiced some concerns about AI taking over departments or running rampant in an area that they shouldn't be in and actually could be detrimental to society. So as we discussed earlier, there needs to be those checks and balances, and there needs to be some guardrails put in place. But this has to be done on a global scale, because as of right now, most countries are in competition to be the fastest and the first with new cutting edge programs, new cutting edge applications. And so some of them are doing that at the expense of putting the safety and the guardrails and checks and balances in place. The future of AI. The future of AI, some people, Elon Musk for one, says it's going to get to a point to where approximately 80% of the workforce will not need to work. Now, he looks at this as a positive because he says they can pursue their dreams versus doing a job. Now, some of us, granted, get to work in the field that we want to work in and get that luxury, but there's many people that are working in fields that they would rather do something in the arts or whatever the case may be, but they have responsibilities, and so they can't go and follow their passions necessarily. Elon says that with the onset of AI, many people are going to be able to follow their passions. And so it's actually going to enhance and enrich our culture and societies globally. Now, I will add this one caveat. Here's where the rub is. If you're not working, how do you pay your bills? So they're talking about universal basic income for citizens that aren't working, or supplementing, if they are working and they're following their passion, supplementing that income so that everybody has at least the ability to take care of whatever they need to take care of, their subsistence, provide for their family, and to move forward and thrive successfully. The other concern that is being expressed right now, to give you one example, we have many graduates from law school right now that cannot get a job. Those entry-level legal jobs used to go to first-year graduates. But AI is so much more proficient than a first-year graduate is, and a lot cheaper, plus they can work 24 hours a day. So a lot of organizations are not hiring those first-year legal graduates to work in the field because they have AI. But what's happening is many of them have student loans at $200,000 or more. So that's not really equitable to have spent that much money and that much time and effort in an industry that no longer exists for you. And how do you pay that loan back? Because if you go into another industry, chances are you're not going to make the money that you would have made working for the legal system. And so this is causing a real hardship on people. So what they're looking at is there's going to have to be some kind of loan forgiveness or some kind of reallocation to make it equitable to people that spent all that time and energy in an industry that's no longer going to exist. Conclusion. in conclusion, what I'd like to do is I'd like to add that there are some real concerns with AI. And granted, I believe there are. But I don't think that we sacrifice progress at the expense of fear. We've never done that before. We wouldn't be flying if we did that. Okay, we have the Wright brothers to thank for that. Look at all the industries that we have, because people had fears, but they also had courage, and they faced those fears. Now, granted, there was a risk, but they calculated the risk, and the rewards outweighed the risk, so they took the path of progress. And I think that's what we're going to see with AI. Granted, there are risks, and I don't deny that, but I think the path of progress is worth it. Thank you.